Civil society organizations under the banner of Child Rights Network for Southern Africa engaged legislators and government officials from the region recently to put child rights on the SADC year agenda. The meeting took place in Harare. More in the following report.
Child rights advocates are calling on SADC to create a comprehensive protocol on children's rights for all member states. They believe this will strengthen the fight against child rights abuses in the region.
We want the SADC to put in place the child rights protocol on children. That will ensure that all the countries of SADC have a guide on how to ensure that children participate, children realize their rights, and each children enjoy their rights now rather than later.
Civil society organizations in education such as the Zimbabwean Network of Early Childhood Actors are hoping for SADC states to increase their education budgets. Most SADC member states are signatories to the Dhaka and Tashkent declarations, which stipulate allocating 20% of a national budget towards education, with 10% of that dedicated to early childhood development. None of the countries in the region are meeting this requirement.
It's better to put more resources now than to put resources to mend children later in life. So it is good for the country and also good for the SADC countries to put their heads together and also follow what has been agreed, since they are also signatory to the declarations that were put in place.
As Zimbabwe assumes the SADC chairmanship, Primary and Secondary Education Minister Torerai Moyo has taken a leadership stance by urging member states to provide safety nets for children whose guidance cannot afford education. This move ensures all children are in school. Statistics from the United Nations Children's Fund reveal that 46 million school-age children are not in school. This is despite education being a basic right in most of these countries.
In our engagements at this conference, we have agreed that every child, regardless of background, whether one comes from a poor family or regardless of cultural background, must have the right to education. We also spoke about the importance of government to provide safety nets to children.
But for children's rights to be realized, resources are needed. To address this, the SADC Parliamentary Forum recently adopted a model law of financing which will guide the allocation of funds towards child rights initiatives.
And the model law on public financial management, which was adopted recently. So the importance of the public financial model law is that the realization of rights requires resources. And Parliament, as you know, is vested with the responsibility, among others, to approve the budget.
The forum will recommend this model law to SADC member states for adoption. The aim is to enhance and harmonize funding efforts in the region.
We now cross over to Taunga Nandoro Primary and Secondary Education Ministry spokesperson to discuss more on the gaps that need to be covered in Zimbabwe's education system. What are the gaps in Zimbabwe's education that can be covered with more resources allocated to the ministry?
The gaps in the education in Zimbabwe include infrastructure, and what we're doing is the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education is improving classroom facilities and building more schools in underserved areas. We also have a gap perhaps in a bit of teacher training, but we're providing comprehensive training and resources for teachers to improve quality education even after they have left college and are now in our system. We also have another gap of technology access, and what we are doing as a ministry is expanding access to digital tools and internet connectivity to bridge the digital divide.
Right, now statistics show that there are many children who are not part of the Early Child Development Program. What needs to be done to resolve that issue? And also, with the current drought crisis in mind and how it affects school children, of course, from disadvantaged backgrounds.
In terms of early childhood participation, we are, as a ministry, conducting awareness campaigns, educating communities about the importance of early childhood education, as well as making sure that we provide subsidies and incentives, which means we are offering financial support or incentives for families to enroll their children. Remember, we now have the Zimbabwe Early Learning Policy, which makes it mandatory for all children from the age of 4 to be in school. We've also embarked on infrastructure expansion, which means that we are building more early childhood centers, especially in rural areas. As for the impact of the drought on education, the current situation is that drought has led to economic hardships that at times force children out of schools, and they need in order for them to be able to actually support their families. So our solutions are that we are implementing school feeding programs, we are providing state-funded education and offering flexible schooling options to keep our children enrolled. And these steps have helped address the challenges.
Konapo Ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.